Anna Troya works at Alief's Bush Elementary. She spent day after day this year on a desperate search for missing students, starting with a list of 105 of them. How many kids did you find?
I would say about 25% that they were at home at that time.
It's this one here.
Some apartments that were just empty. The families had to move out.
Alief ISD says it's missing nearly 3,000 students, many of them in kindergarten or pre-K. In Alief, more pre-K students have disappeared than have shown up. Across Texas, more elementary students are missing than any other grades. A 13 Investigates analysis found a 6% drop in Texas elementary schools through October, the most recently available data. Those are students who need school the most.
The human brain of a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old in its developmental stages is like a sponge during these ages.
What's about to happen next?
It's hard to go back and reteach them because their brain has moved on from that.
To make it worse, our investigation shows the missing students statewide tend to be from higher need areas. Our 13 Investigates analysis shows the campuses with the worst student loss also had the highest percent of economically disadvantaged students.
COVID is going to be a defined time in our lives. The effects of COVID is going to last far beyond that. Clearly, you're going to need an infusion of funding to address all the intervention that needs to occur for the students who have lost time and who have lost knowledge over this time.
But under state rules, the exact opposite could happen. Texas funds schools based on enrollment, the current formula allocating $5,500 per student enrolled. In Houston, where state records show more than 13,000 students disappeared, the loss could be as much as $80 to $90 million. $14 million in Cy-Fair. In Fort Bend, $6 million. In Aldine, the largest percentage loss in our area, it could be as much as $21 million. And student loss could cost Alief more than $11 million.
I am really concerned that the financial loss, which would equate to potentially staffing loss, is going to prevent us from being able to address the learning losses that have just occurred over the last 9 months.
After it cools.
Which is why those students who should be at those empty desks and in those vacant apartments are still so important to track down.
Now it's scary to me. I'm extremely worried about the next 3 to 5 years in our education system.
He is right to be scared. Those cuts could impact his district quite dramatically. There's no place to go except to cut staff if these cuts are put in place. You know, we asked HISD, the state's largest district, and the one that could stand to lose the most money, what their situation is. They weren't really eager to talk to us about their 13,000 missing kids. Houston ISD has a problem. Actually, state records show Houston ISD has 13,002 problems, and they don't want to talk to us about a single one of them. They're all missing students. More than a week ago, we asked HISD to explain what it had done to look for their own students who haven't shown up all year, and how they would catch those students up if they do. HISD respectfully declined and sent us a written statement undercounting their own missing students by 30%. And letting us know they're still trying to track down students, but not one of their employees could tell us about the effort.
For this year and next year.
Lucky for us, and you, the superintendent's boss's school board trustees had some of the same questions we do about the 13,002 HISD students who haven't shown up at school this year. Pretty much, where are they?
I don't have that available.
And more concerning, what it will mean to HISD's budget, since the state of Texas funds schools based on how many students are enrolled.
What does that equate to in dollars, and where are we planning to cut?
Every student in a Texas public school is worth at least $5,500 to the district.
It equates to about $80 to $90 million.
Money HISD, the state's largest district, doesn't have lying around, and almost certainly can't be made up without cutting staff, which makes up 3/4 of the school district's budget.
Where are those cuts projected to be made at this time?
We're actually starting that discussion this Monday.
While they work on those solutions, and we do hope they'll tell us eventually, lawmakers return to Austin soon, and that may be where the real solution comes from. Of all the education experts we spoke to for this investigation, there wasn't one who thought cutting $872 million in state aid to education makes sense.
There is no fat. I want to be really clear. We don't have enough in our budget to trim away to make up the difference.
But unless lawmakers change the rules and do it fast, that's our current system. And every student a district can't find could cost them $5,500.
We want to make sure that
We don't penalize the school districts.
Dan Huberty chairs the Texas House Education Committee. He's one of the people in power to make the change, and he's confident schools will get some more time to find the missing students before making huge cuts.
Don't do anything foolish. We don't want you laying off teachers. We don't want you to get rid of them. We really want you to find these kids. That is our focus.
But COVID is making money tight. Tying funding to enrollment could make schools work harder to find kids who need to be in school.
The reasons why we've incentivized schools to find the children is to make sure they make every effort to get them into the mandatory grades 1 through 12. And it's really a big part of how the finance system works.
It's this one here.
Districts have looked, some even door to door, but where are the 156,000 students who just haven't shown up in any Texas school this year? Our investigation found the biggest chunk of them are in elementary grades, and the schools that could be cut the most are where some of the poorest Texas students attend.
The answer is clearly not as simple as just putting them back in seats.
Even if schools find those students, or they magically come back, they've already missed so much. They will need more, not less attention. Some may even need to do the year over that they missed.
It may mean that we need to look at their skill set, because you can't give them credit for a year they totally missed.
It's amazing to think, right? Kids who have missed so much school now having to repeat a grade when they eventually get back. The bottom line is we've got to find these kids. As we investigated all of this, though, we did find that some districts across our area haven't lost students. In fact, some are dealing with growing pains.
And now we know it has the same ending as the...
In Cleveland ISD, northeast of the city, they get 60 new kids every week.
I became superintendent of May of 19, and we had 6745. When we come back from the Christmas break, we will break 9,000 students in Cleveland ISD.
18% this year alone. Huge growth, most of it fueled by a massive and supersonically fast-growing subdivision. It stands out even more when you consider our investigation found in Texas schools, they lost so many students this year, it wiped out years of statewide enrollment gains. We mapped every district's loss online. You can see it now. Cleveland is one of the exceptions you see on that map, but Cleveland didn't scoop up all those students missing from other districts. HISD, for example, lost thousands more students than Cleveland has total. They haven't all left Houston and come here.
No, sir.
And even here, where growth is so fast, new schools open with portables and crowded car lines, they lost students initially and knew they had to work hard to find them.
We had a manageable size district to go focus in on our individual children, our individual families, and our families responded by contacting us as well.
Cleveland did lose some students at the beginning of the year. They found them, and then they grew so much more with all the new students arriving. We understand that 150,000 students statewide is a lot to take in. So is that $870 million in state aid that could be lost. So we're breaking it down and making it a lot easier online right now. You can click to your district to see how many students are still missing and how much it could cost them. If you like this, please check out the rest of our 13 Investigates work. Just scroll down a few rows if you're watching this on our streaming apps.